Imagine we're in a meeting, digging through health data. One analyst notices a troubling trend, say a bias affecting Indigenous patients, but they bite their tongue. Why? Maybe they fear looking ignorant or causing conflict. In research with administrative health data, this scenario is more common than we think. When people don't feel safe to speak or show up, important insights can slip through the cracks. The cost of that silence can be huge. Research that lacks validity and missed opportunities to address health disparities and improve outcomes. In this module, we'll explore how to cultivate safe spaces where everyone, from data analysts to community partners, feels confident to speak up, ask hard questions, and share ideas. Before we jump in, let's map out our journey in Module 1. Our goal is to understand what a safe or brave space truly means, especially for our teams working with health data. We'll draw on two sources of wisdom. First, an Indigenous perspective from Elaine Aleck's Cultivating Safe Space framework. And second, Amy Edmondson's research on psychological safety in workplaces. We'll see how these two approaches weave together to give us richer understanding. Finally, throughout this module, we encourage reflection. This work can get personal and emotional, so we'll emphasize patience with ourselves and others, and the importance of introspection. In short, by the end, you'll have new perspectives and tools to help you cultivate spaces where you and those around you can feel welcome and included. Let's define safe or brave space in our context. We're talking about an environment where folks feel secure taking interpersonal risks. That means you can raise an unconventional idea, admit a mistake, or question the status quo without fear of ridicule or retaliation. Now, a common misconception is that a safe space means not feeling discomfort. Not so. In fact, this is why we have included brave in the description. Because feeling safe allows us to engage in uncomfortable but necessary conversations. It's not about tiptoeing around issues or avoiding hard topics. It's about knowing you won't be punished or shamed for bringing those topics up. In a truly safe or brave space, discomfort can happen without feeling unsafe. We invite honest and sincere dialogue, even if it's hard, because that's how we get to common understanding and make progress. Elaine Aleck, a knowledge keeper and leadership consultant from the Syilx and Secwépemc nations, offers an Indigenous framework for cultivating safe spaces. She gives us 4 foundational conditions. First, understanding self, knowing who you are, your roots, your community, your values, so you can show up authentically. In colonial systems, we're often taught to check our identities at the door. Elaine says reclaiming our identity is step 1 to feeling safe and helping others feel safe. Second, love-based practice, making decisions from a place of trust and love rather than fear. That means trusting ourselves and each other instead of clinging to rigid control and perfectionism. Third, being patient with ourselves and others. Think about times you've thought you were lazy, not good enough, or an imposter. Patience creates breathing room to accept that we are enough. And fourth, Elaine reminds us that every voice has wisdom, even if we disagree with it. These 4 elements form a nest. Each supports the others, and together they lay a groundwork of respect and understanding. Elaine Aleck also lays out 4 protocols, concrete practices that act as antidotes to colonizing behaviors. First, promote well-being. In colonized systems, Rules and profit often come before humanity. Decolonizing means we consciously put people's holistic wellness first. Second, promote inclusion. The colonial mindset says there's not enough room at the table. We flip that. Work from a place of abundance. Every voice has space and deserves to be heard. Third, promote freedom. This counters oppression. It's about not micromanaging or insisting on my way or the highway. It respects others' agency and knowledge. Finally, promote validation. Colonial cultures often use shame as control. We aim to replace shame with validation. That means recognizing others' contributions and competencies, even if their style is different from ours. These 4 values, well-being, inclusion, freedom, and validation, directly combat the old toxic tools that help create a space where everyone can thrive. Now let's bring in Amy Edmondson's perspective from organizational psychology. Edmondson, a Harvard professor, introduced the term psychological safety in teams. Psychologically safe workplaces mean you actually feel it's not just okay, but expected to voice concerns or admit a mistake. Imagine a workplace where nobody's worrying about asking a stupid question. Edmondson's research found that this kind of safety is the driving force behind high-performing, innovative teams. Why? Because when people aren't afraid of looking ignorant or being penalized, they share ideas and flag issues early. This leads to more learning and fewer disasters. Also, crucially, diversity shines in a safe environment. So, Edmonton's model tells us if we want engaged, creative, effective teams, the kind that can tackle complex health data challenges, we need to cultivate an environment where no one is afraid to speak up. Elaine Aleck's Indigenous approach and Amy Edmondson's organizational model converge on the same core themes. Both call us to move from fear and control towards trust and respect, the foundation for any community circle or project team. Without that trust, people won't risk speaking up. Another shared value is that every voice matters. Elaine's discipline to listen complements Edmondson's speak up culture, both urging us to hear all perspectives, even the uncomfortable ones. They also align on learning over blame. Elaine stresses validation and growth over shame, while Amy emphasizes curiosity rather than punishment when mistakes occur. Finally, both frameworks highlight authenticity and belonging. Elaine begins with understanding self, and psychological safety ensures people can bring their full identity to work without fear. Though rooted in different traditions, Indigenous knowledge, and organizational research, they weave together beautifully, asking the same question: how do we create spaces of trust and belonging where everyone can share their gifts? Finally, let's zoom in on how we can apply these principles directly in our health data research teams and meetings. Think of this slide as a quick toolbox you can lean on. First tool, that fear versus trust check-in. This is that simple question Elaine gave us. Am I doing this from fear and control or from trust and faith? Use it in real time. For instance, if you're about to critique a colleague's analysis, pause and check your mindset. Are you critical out of anxiety, say taking a new non-academic approach, or offering feedback to help the team? If it's fear-based, Maybe you're worried about how this project will reflect on you. Recognize that and reframe it towards trust. When we all do this self-check, it nudges our interactions to be more supportive and constructive. Second, the 90-second rule. Literally take a minute and a half when things get heated. Let's say a meeting on data governance gets tense. Perhaps someone feels unheard or a sensitive issue triggers strong feelings. Instead of plowing through, call a short pause. It sounds like a tiny thing, but it can diffuse tension and bring everyone back to a calmer thinking state. Third, embrace the idea that there's room for everyone's perspective. In research, we can get into debates over the right approach, statistical methods, interpretations, project plans, you name it. Of course, we strive for wisest practices, but don't let ego or a colonial mindset of my way is the one way take over. Remember, no single perspective has all the answers. And last, replace blame with curiosity. When an error happens, or if there's a disagreement, resist the immediate blame game. Instead, channel Amy's mindset. Treat it as a learning opportunity. Ask, what factors led to this outcome? Or, what can we do differently next time? This moves the team from finger pointing to problem solving. It ties back to promoting validation over shame, focusing on growth, not guilt. To sum up this toolkit, keep asking the right questions, give each other grace and time, and make inclusion a habit. These concrete actions will help all the high-level ideas we discussed truly take root in our daily work. To wrap up Module 1, remember that cultivating safe spaces is a continuous journey. We've planted some seeds today: Indigenous frameworks of love and inclusion, psychological safety principles, and tough moments. But, like any garden, a safe space culture needs regular tending. It's not like, all right, did the training, box checked. We have to practice these habits over and over, be patient when we stumble, and support each other in the process. The good news is everyone here has a role in this. It doesn't matter if you're the project lead, a data analyst, or a community partner. How you show up matters. By choosing to act with trust rather than fear, by listening rather than dismissing, by courageously speaking up rather than remaining silent, each of us feeds into the atmosphere of safety and belonging. And when we have that foundation, our work gets better, truly. In short, better safety leads to better science and stronger teams. As we move forward into the next modules, let's carry these safe space principles with us. Thank you for engaging in this topic. Let's keep nurturing these safe spaces together.